afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's live Agent Secrets presentation. I will be your host. My name is Christy, and I thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to be spending the next hour helping you better prepare yourself for the very challenging real estate market that we are all dealing with right now. I'm sure many of you would agree that it's probably about as challenging as it has been in a very long time. And I hear it. I hear it from our clients. I hear it from friends. I hear it from people who are trying to sell. I hear it from people who are trying to buy. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, which means it's more important than ever to really have your marketing strategy locked in. Okay, this is not the time to throw your hands up in the air and say, I don't know what to do. Okay, this is the time to really plan and build effective strategies because, for one, a lot of agents are in that panic mode and they don't know what to do. So it will automatically put you ahead of your competition. And also, it will just make for a stronger business, a much more reliable source of new clients, better quality leads, and probably just a much more pleasurable type of business anyway. So that is what we're going to be covering a wide range of topics today. And I encourage all of you to ask questions, right? This is live. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have. I encourage you to put them into the chat. And hello, Cynthia, greetings from Indianapolis. That's the right way to pronounce it, I think. Yeah, let me know where you're at. I'm here in Toronto, and that's where I am. So let me know where you are. Let me know how you're doing. Maybe let me know what are some of the key things that you're hoping to get out of today's session. You know, I want to make sure that this is really helpful for you. Your time is valuable, and I understand that. So let's get started. I will start by just giving everyone a little introduction. I know many of you are your clients, your fans of what we do, and you are here week after week, and I really appreciate you. So you all know who I am. For those of you who don't, you're new, I will just give you a quick intro. So I've been working with real estate professionals in this specific field of teaching technology, helping real estate agents improve their business, improve their processes, right? Whether it be lead generation, follow-up, communication. So it's that intersection between real estate marketing and technology. That's where I have my comfort zone, and that's where I specialize. Now, if you are new, if you aren't a client of Success Website, my information is up here on this slide. So feel free to reach out to me. My email is there, christy@successwebsite.com. Happy to set up a marketing consultation with you and discuss, what your goals are. But today, my job is to address the challenges that real estate agents are facing today, because I know you're facing one of the most challenging and rapidly changing markets in real estate history. I'm also here to guide you through those proven strategies, the things that I've learned over the last 20 years to help you create sales funnels, take your real estate business to the next level. Sound good? Okay, so let's get started. All right, so here's the reality check. Now, as far as the challenges go, we know that we're facing a few things, right? There's inventory fluctuations. Market inventory has shifted probably around, 40% year over year in many regions. Interest rates are really impacting the market, rate changes affecting buyer behavior, affordability, and then consumer behavior. 89%, and that is, I would say, underestimating, at least 89% of buyers start their search online. So that is just the reality. You really have to have a strong online presence. And then, of course, competition intensity. The average, there's probably an average of at least 10 to 12 agents competing for every listing in major markets. So you really have to differentiate yourself from the rest and stand out from the rest of the herd. And then, of course, there's the technology. Lots of new platforms, tools, AI. Of course, if Zillow could have its way, agents would probably be eliminated altogether. So, yes, there's that, right? The human element of real estate is just as important as ever, but we have to always think about how do we accentuate that value? How do we bring that value forward and make sure that the buyers and sellers really understand what value you have to offer? Those messages have to be strong and they have to get through. That is so, so important. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So a lot of this time that we're going to be spending together today is laying the groundwork, right? I really want you guys to be making notes and jotting down those things that maybe you don't think you're as strong as you could be in. And then we can talk about, okay, what do we need to do to make you stronger in those areas? Because the agents who are thriving today, they're not necessarily the ones who were successful 5 years ago, right? They're the ones who've adapted. They've adapted their approach, they're embracing new strategies, and they're leveraging the right tools. Okay, so that it all comes back to technology and leveraging it to make sure that you are ahead, right? You're ahead of the curve. Okay, so let's address some of the challenges, okay? And then we can get into the solutions. Challenges that real estate agents are facing today. Number one, lead generation in a saturated market. Raise your hand. You don't really have to raise your hand on, on Zoom. If we were in a room here, I'd ask you all to raise your hand. But basically, lead generation is tough, right? Those traditional lead generation sources like Google and Facebook, still pretty strong, or direct mail, they are declining in effectiveness, right? The cost per lead is increasing. Agents are spending a lot more time dealing with these leads, trying to follow up with them, prospecting, and less time actually converting. So not only are leads becoming more difficult to get, they're more expensive and they're harder to convert. So that means at least probably 68% of you are really struggling to find quality leads. In fact, I would say the percentage is probably higher. And then, of course, the average agent really only spends 40% of their time on lead generation activities, right? So you're probably spending the majority of your time maybe working with clients or chasing down people, or you're the time that you're spending on lead generation activities is not really giving you the ROI that you need, right? You're burning through your marketing budget with a poor ROI, and that's just not a good place to be. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two, converting modern consumers. Now, what do I mean by modern consumers? Buyers are more informed than ever, and they're also more skeptical. Now, I've always said that you're probably looking at an average of 8 to 12 touches before you even get a hold of a prospect, right? But there's actually more that goes into a prospect becoming a customer. So there's a lot more touches, a lot more communication that's needed to convert a lead from a lead to a prospect to a customer. But at the same time, people expect instant responses. They expect personalized experiences. Their expectations are really high. So you're now dealing with longer sales cycles, probably an increase of about 20% longer, at higher client expectations with less patience. And then you need to close those deals as quickly as possible, because your competitors, that's what they're trying to do, right? So you may be losing business to other agents who are responding quicker and sending more messaging and doing all these things, right? So you don't want to be the one losing business to those agents. You want to be that agent who is getting the business because you're doing those things. Another challenge, staying visible in the digital noise. There is so much noise out there. Social media algorithms constantly changing not only their algorithms, but changing the rules. Content creation can be very overwhelming for busy agents, right? That activity is extremely important, but it does take time creating content. And then standing out amongst other agents, right? Thousands of other agents who are also putting content out there, right? So there's a reduction in organic reach. People are having a hard time getting customers to reach out to them organically. And then, of course, that inconsistency with branding can be very damaging as well. And then, of course, missing opportunities to get in front of people, right? Not doing enough email marketing, not doing enough remarketing through Google Display, Facebook, not doing enough posting, all of these things, right? You can't underestimate the volume that that really is required to stay visible amongst all of the digital noise. Another big challenge is the managing time and productivity. I'm sure I have this challenge. We all do. How do you manage your time, and how do you stay productive? How do you focus on the right things at the right time? So you're probably juggling multiple clients, listings, marketing efforts. You might be dealing with staff, other agents that are on your team, admin. It's all time consuming, right? And it all takes away from valuable business building and selling time. So when you don't have those systematic follow-up processes, that is absolutely going to have a detrimental impact on your business. You're going to lose deals because you're not able to follow up effectively. You're going to be working more because you don't have effective systems in place, and there's going to be diminishing returns on your time, and it's going to lead to burnout, right? Because when you feel like you're working, doing all these things, and it's just not paying off, it's not giving you the result that you need, that's when burnout happens. And that's when you start to really get into a space where you just don't know what to do. Your first instinct really is to cut back on things, right? And then finally, I would say a challenge that we are going to really address here as well, along with the others, is adapting to market shifts. So back to the original issue, which is a rapidly changing market. Strategies that worked in hot markets aren't necessarily what you need to implement in a balanced or a cool market, right? So you want to be able to pivot your marketing messages appropriately and address the uncertainty that many of your buyers and sellers are facing right now. You know, where to invest. And it's also about the uncertainty about where you need to invest your time and your resources. So we don't want you to be stuck in any outdated approaches. We don't want you to be stuck in a state of fear and stress, because that ultimately does affect your performance and your decision making. So what do? Well, we focus on building strategies and building systems. So I'm going to go through a series of success strategies that I have always found to be very effective in all sorts of different markets. And each strategy is fairly flexible, and it can also be adapted to what's happening now. So this is the stuff that you guys want to write down, okay? So success strategy number 1, hyper local market positioning. Now, because real estate is a very local type of business, right? Your audience, your customers, they're all local. They're all probably within, I don't know, a 10-mile radius or 20-mile radius, right? And what they're looking to you for is your expertise, okay? They want to know about the neighborhoods. They want to know about the difference between different types of homes or properties or pricing, all of that stuff. So you want to become the undisputed expert in specific neighborhoods. So look at your overall target area and decide, which neighborhoods do I want to dominate in, and just start focusing on creating valuable location-specific content, right? So this could be something as simple as a monthly newsletter. Now, at Success Website, we do have a monthly newsletter that we generate for you every month. But what I always recommend to clients is, don't just use the generic content that gets updated for you every month. Localize it, right? Add some of your expertise to it. And it's just a matter of updating maybe market stats every month, or throwing in a video highlighting a local business that just opened up in your local market. Start by becoming the expert, and think about the type of content that you can put out there to share that expertise with your audience. So building genuine community connections. We have a client, George Moorhead. He's out in Seattle, and we've actually featured him on our Agent Secrets video series. If you check out our blog, you'll see that interview. But he has all sorts of content about his areas, and he also showcases local businesses, and he partners up, and he's really become a community expert. And that has not only increased his listings, but a lot of those listings come from referrals, because he is so dialed into his neighborhood. People do not have any issue referring him, right? Because he is out there and he's demonstrating how good he is at what he does and how much he knows about his area. So he is going above and beyond, I would say. But for you, if you can commit to putting out at least maybe 1 to 2 pieces of content every month about specific neighborhoods, and that can go out as an email, you can have a blog post, you can post a video on your YouTube channel, you can share all these things on social media. Start with, at least twice a month, and just schedule it out, batch it out. And you'd be surprised at how much brand awareness and recognition and trust that will build with your audience. You can also incorporate this into your advertising. These are Google ads, okay, that we're looking at right now. And something that we always recommend here at Success, and this is more of an ad management strategy, but when you advertise, try to specialize or focus in on a specific type of property. What this will do is it's going to help you attract the exact type of buyer or seller that you're looking for. If you have a lot of knowledge and expertise in new construction, let's run an ad offering a list of new construction homes. Or if you're in an area where there are lots of homes with pools and people are looking for that, let's focus on that. So we can help you create these campaigns that are basically offering something that is very specific to a certain target market, but also will help you in your follow-up build a reputation as being an expert in that particular type of product, right? And in this case, it would be a list of homes. So that's just a simple example, but I would take it further by, again, creating more content about those things as well. Okay, success strategy number 2, multi-channel nurture campaigns. So what do I mean by nurture? Once a lead comes in, it's very important to have immediate follow-up go out. Okay, that means you've got email, text, ringless voicemail, you're calling. That follow-up needs to be strong. It needs to be pretty aggressive, especially for the first 14 days. But what happens if you can't get a hold of them? What happens if you do get a hold of them, but they're just not ready to meet? You have to have a pretty strong nurture campaign. So make sure that you've got systematic follow-up, okay, across all channels. And then try to personalize that as much as you can. So I always recommend when you're working within your CRM, you try to organize your leads into specific buckets or segments. You know, a very basic example of that would be maybe now business, future business. Most CRMs will allow you to tag leads based on their timing, right? Are they moving in less than 3 months, 3 to 6 months, that type of thing. So this all comes down to CRM and database management. But when you have that system in place, it's then very easy to launch these nurture campaigns that is going to allow you to stay in front of people for an extended period of time. And it's all automated, right? So, you know, we have a client out in San Diego. His name's George Lormer. And for every lead that comes in, you know, we classify that lead as a buyer or a seller, and they get put on the initial 14-day follow-up plan. But if he's not able to convert them, or you know, he knows that they're going to need a little bit more time, the cycle is a bit longer, that's when we put them on the nurture plan. And that includes property updates, monthly newsletters. It includes reminders for him to check in every few months. It includes ringless voicemails. It may include reminders or weekly updates, you know, the 10 best buys of the week, things like that. So that should go on for at least 18 months, but in many cases, it can go on for years. It's not uncommon for George to finally convert one of the leads that have been in his database, just getting information, getting content from him for years. Okay, it could be 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. It's actually more common than you would think. So that is an important process and system to have in place. And you want to make sure that your CRM can accommodate that. So for instance, within Engage, we have what are called action plans. And those action plans are essentially communication plans, but they're a multi-channel approach. So they include email, text message, qualifying questions. We also have an AI lead qualifier that can communicate with the leads automatically for you. And then we have e-plans and things that you can assign to those leads after you have determined what their timing and motivation is. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of those aspects of the CRM. You know, you may be one of those people who are very good with your new lead follow-up, but you know you could improve on the nurturing. Or maybe you're very good about sending out your monthly newsletter, but you know you could be a little bit better about those personal touches, you know, remembering to follow up, tagging leads appropriately, things like that. So very few of you, I think, on the call are perfect at all of it. In fact, it's not often that I meet a realtor who's completely knocking it out of the park on all aspects, but many of you are doing one of these things fairly well. You're just, you're not, you're probably lacking in either the short term or the long term follow up. So we want to make sure that we're covering both bases, okay? And then success strategy number 3 is video. Top agents are really leaning in to video and creating content that is educating people, you know, sharing stories, and basically showing your audience who you are and what you can do and demonstrating value. And because everything has moved way more to a video type media format, you really need to be doing this, right? So if you're not comfortable creating video, I get it. I would try to get over it and find a way to feel more comfortable doing it. Even doing something like what I'm doing right now, sitting in front of your laptop, giving a presentation, recording it, and then sending it out. That's fine, right? You don't have to be on site winging it. You can plan it. But having a weekly market update via video, or having like really nicely done virtual tours that you're putting in place for every listing, or just storytelling, right? Building your brand through authentic storytelling can be very effective. So, testimonials are such a strong piece of content that cannot be underestimated. So when you have a client that's really happy, or something's gone really well, think about how you can tell that story and how you can do it in a video format. Because once you have that, you can now embed it on your website. You can incorporate it into a digital marketing campaign. You can put it into an email sequence, right? There's so many things we can do. What I'm showing here is an example of how one of our agents, this is George, he's got a series of landing pages. We call them video landing pages, where he is communicating a very specific topic, and then he uses email as a way to drive traffic to those pages. And that's all part of his follow-up sequence. And then here on the right, this is actually a video that we have created. Of course, it's not going to have your face in it, but we do have video content that is more educational that we can activate for you. So that's always an option as well. And it's a good one, especially if you don't have any video content right now and you want to have some on your website. We do have probably about 5 or 6 different videos that we can plug in to your website, to your platform for you. All righty. Success story or success strategy number 4, data-driven decision making. Now, tracking is so important, and I'm saying that because it's a big part of what I do as a digital marketing. But if you're not actively tracking your results, it's almost impossible to make any meaningful decisions about what you're doing. Because ROI, your return on your investment, your return on your marketing spend, is the number one metric that we need to look at. So you need to be very much aware of where your leads are coming from, where your calls are coming from, where your new business is coming from, and then use that as the driver for making decisions. So one thing that we do at Success here is we're very bullish on tracking. We want to make sure that we have all the metrics we need to make those decisions. So we track the number of leads you're getting, where they're coming from, what are our conversion rates, what is the engagement rate on our action plans. We want to know exactly how many people are responding. So all of these metrics are extremely important, and sometimes it's hard to do all that tracking, and even to get that tracking set up, can be very challenging. So having a team like what we do here is extremely beneficial, because that's what we specialize in, is making sure that we've got all of the analytics. We know exactly what is happening, right? So if we see that you're running a campaign that is not generating results, then we will recommend that we stop it or change it. A situation that comes to mind here is I have a client. I don't think she's on today, actually, but her name is Ksenia. And she's generating a lot of leads, running a lot of different campaigns. And every time we get on a call, we have the same discussion, right? So how many leads did I get for this ad? And what is the cost per lead? So once we have that basic baseline, then we get into, okay, so out of those leads, how many did you talk to, right? So we can drill down and say, okay, well, you got a bunch of leads on this campaign, but you did not talk to any of them. Whereas this campaign only generated 10 leads, but you actually got in touch with 5 of them, right? That's 50% contact rate. And then you generated 2 or 3 appointments. So the ROI that you're going to get from that campaign that generated fewer leads, probably a higher cost per lead, is going to give you a much bigger return on your investment. So those types of metrics are so important, because when you discover the thing that works, when you discover the campaign that is generating leads, the quality of the leads is good, it is generating business for you. Now you have a predictable campaign that you can scale. And that is extremely valuable when you can find that. And then on the flip side, you may be generating a ton of leads for a campaign, and cost per lead is really low, but you can't get a hold of them. Or if you do get a hold of them, they're not qualified. The message is off. It's not producing quality leads, right? So without the data, without knowing your numbers, you would continue running that campaign thinking it's great, it's performing well, when you've got another campaign that is producing less, but the outcome is much better. So anyhow, this is why we make sure that we have the proper tracking in place. So I am going to spend just a bit of time for those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with the success system. I know that some of you are, so this will be a nice little reminder for you. But our platform is a comprehensive real estate marketing business management system, which is probably not the catchiest way to say it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's designed specifically for agents who want to thrive in today's market, like not just survive, but thrive. So it's an end-to-end platform where we cover the first stage, which is generating leads, getting them into your ecosystem, getting them into your world, getting them into your CRM. We supply you with a CRM that is your whole follow-up system, right? And we can accommodate teams, individuals, no matter what the size of your team is. We provide all sorts of automation tools, tracking tools. We can help you remarket, build content, do all of the long-term nurture plans that you need to do. And then we also have a lot of really great listing tools, and we can connect to your local MLS. So you can use all the data that you have through the MLS and also use that as leverage on your website and in your marketing. So I'm just going to get into each and every aspect, and then of course we're going to keep an eye on the questions, and I'll take some time to answer those, of course. But some of the core components of our system, I would say lead generation is definitely one of the core components. And it's really, really important to highlight the fact that we don't believe in black box marketing. Okay, that's where basically you have a whole bunch of people coming to your website and then signing up just to get access to the MLS, essentially. Um, there's a lot of companies out there that will generate leads for you and put them into your CRM. But what we like to do is we like to help you design and target your ideal market. So we use all sorts of multi-channel lead capture systems, whether it be Facebook, landing pages, text message marketing. We have AI that can help as well. And we do integrate with lead sources like Zillow, Realtor.com, all those. So if you are doing that successfully, that's great. We can integrate with that, but we can also help you build out some more bespoke type of campaigns that, again, are going to help to establish you as an expert in a specific area. And then we've also got our automated nurture campaigns. So we provide a whole library of pre-built action plans, sequences for buyers and sellers. We also provide you with